Welcome once again to Clinical Theurgy, episode 61. I like that number. It's a nice number. 6-1.
It's a good number to die.
I don't know. You guys have been really making it hard for me to kill you. Like, I can't get you guys to engage in PvP. I can't even get you guys to fully break up. Though Ghoulron has really been trying.
My name is Gulron, and I have a very real traumatic experience about dying and having to relive it the next day, and I don't want to go adventuring anymore.
That's how Goron sounds.
You say that as if he got eaten or something. It wasn't that bad.
I mean, the guy doing the eating is part Fae. How bad can he be?
Exactly. And the first couple of bites, like, you're dead by then, so it's not like the digestion's the problem.
I'm definitely with Whitney on this one, with that face that she just made.
Yeah, he wasn't eaten in the good way. Anyway.
I don't know if starting the sentence with he wasn't eaten, if there's any good way for that.
There is.
I mean, some people enjoy a good tossed salad now and then.
So, last time, Niev went around to Ivy and Gulron and shared with them her plans for experimenting with Fae form. Gulron, Ivy didn't quite understand how that was different than what she did and bickered a little bit with Niev. Gulron wanted Niev to be cautious, and we made plans to meet up the next day so he could put some protections around the place. Niev also wanted to speak with Rion so that she could let him know about the Fae and Empire stuff that she found out. But Ivy was hesitant about that and told Niev about Rion telling her to go kill herself. So we kind of, talked about it and decided we were going to go talk to Maha instead. So the next day, Antaeus and Niev went to see Maha. Maha told her, Niev, if she wanted to take on the role of speaker, that she would need to resign from the ministry. She could keep the house, but have to pay for the upkeep. Niev said she still wanted to work for the ministry. It wasn't like she intentionally, was seeking out these messages. It just kind of happened. Maha said that really she should have gone to Rion, but that she would smooth things over with Rion. Gulron, in the meantime, did meet with Rion and chewed him out about Ivy. And then he left and met up with our group. We put protections in place. We had a hero's feast. And Niev shifted into a dryad, and she was very curious. She could remember going to the city and withering and dying because she was away from her tree. She did let the dryad take over. She was kind of speaking to the party as the dryad. Afterwards, Ivy was wanting to let everyone know about what she had found out, what her next steps are, which is, I think, to try to absorb whatever is beneath the vortex by Woser. Antaeus said he would help research. Niev said she would ask the Fae about that. Gulron did not want to leave Knightsbridge / his church. Ivy and Gulron argued. Ivy went to Zigmar's and was, confiding in him. And then she told him about the guy that she, fucked until he couldn't walk right. And Zigmar's got really excited and was like, "Can you show me how that went?" And so we kind of left off. Niev went to the Fae and Empire and was asking questions about Ivy and about her brother and the demon / I think she was talking to the demon / yeah. So he was telling her to try and shift into the stabby one for more information as well. So that's kind of where we left off.
So yeah, we'll join the party maybe sometime later. Gulron, stubborn as ever, working on his church, bringing back his stone, each day. Antaeus and Niev on a pretty perpetual search. Actually, Antaeus, Niev, and Ivy all kind of on their own independent searches for answers. So some questions I do have before I go forward is, Antaeus,
Yes.
if you are given an option where your group can conduct human trials, and they use the phrase, the participants are either willing or deserving, in accordance with laws, to be test subjects. Are you willing to allow us to continue? How do you answer?
Is there information about these deserving people? And is there any compensation at all? Or
the advisement they will give you is that, well, there is compensation. Some people might feel that the compensation is not fair, but it is within all accordances with the law, to the best of their ability to keep things in that arrangement.
Okay, so there is compensation for the willing participants, so that's good.
Even for the ones who are deserving, they still receive some measure of compensation.
Yes, that makes sense. With the people that are deserving, are there like records of these people?
So they will inform you that records are not allowed to be kept on these people because they are not their own property. And so the records are optional, but they are technically the rights of somebody else if they choose to have them. But all parties engaged have declined record keeping.
Okay. I was just curious because I wanted to make sure it wasn't like somebody that was arrested for something like a misdemeanor or something and being put into this. But
they inform you that they don't always ask questions about what the details are, and asking questions almost always makes the subject no longer able to participate, or no longer will. They basically, the circumstances no longer often allow that person to still be a participant. So you are shrinking the pool by choosing any sort of permutation of questioning or additional information.
And the people that are there are the willing participants, and the other group was like the what's the term
they refer to as people that are deserving.
Deserving, that's
yes.
Right. So they're not inherently willing.
No, they are not. They themselves are. That is not checked beforehand.
Gotcha.
So they may or may not be willing, but that is not checked beforehand.
That is a very good question. Would not specifically the details, but the level of the offense of theirs be knowledge, like if it was like something that was like...
They do not collect names or any other pieces of information regarding that person, or it nullifies the results.
Okay, so there's like literally zero information.
Yes.
It's not like these are hardened criminals that are in for life versus...
No, they have no idea. They are just going off of what is being given to them, with the understanding that these people are deserving in accordance with the law. So, like, if your place was raided, no one would go to jail. And you would in no way have any sort of, like, indemnity owed for such actions, or placed against you for such actions. I think I'm using
which trials are these for? Are these because I guess the severity of it would
yes. So I thought I'd put that in my Evernote, but I need to go back to the stuff that you sent me. So give me 1 second.
Because if it is stuff that's important enough, I think that you would deem it necessary.
There it is.
Or maybe not necessary, but
So this has to do with a combination of both some of the pharmaceuticals you wanted researched, as well as some of the some tests into the extended mind sharing capabilities that you're looking for in expanding into the VR viewing globe stuff. Because these can actually kind of coexist on each other. Using the one system, they can gather more information for the other system on how like the neural workings work, how like the brain is using information during the time. And in addition, they have some other passive stuff they're doing with the Arcane Agave in trying to make duplicates using alchemy to try to create like alternative versions of the same substance. Now that they have a raw sample of it, but they need to be able to test the effects between like what happens each time they dose someone with it.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. I had to reload Roll20 like 3 or 4 times.
So the variety of outcomes so far range from not much to a handful of deaths. Of course, all parties have signed the appropriate like clauses to make sure that responsibility is not on Amon Industries, but people have still died.
I mean, if they're made aware of that ahead of time, then I
mean, they bring up the note that like not everybody properly reads a contract, but like, is that really our responsibility that people won't read?
Yeah, that's. I think that I'm assuming that the language would be maybe not crystal clear, but I would be clear enough.
It's a formalized 6-page contract.
Yeah, like that. Anybody of any reasonable intelligence that wanted to could put in the time doing it.
It's not so hard to read that like the average person couldn't eventually figure it out. Is the way that it's put to you.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
They have the opportunity to do what they need to do on their end with that. Are there resources in place for the side effects for the people that go through these trials?
There are resources in place. There is a shell company that they've created for their rehabilitation for people that have had complications. And so you are basically making money on them coming and going.
Okay.
Well, you're getting research information on them coming, and then you're collecting money on them going, because you're really the only place with the treatment options for the stuff that you're causing them.
Okay. I would like to make sure that there's that it's more than just the minimal for the rehabilitation stuff, because there's also potential in research for that as well.
Okay.
And if we're doing research on these people, I don't want to like leave them completely
they will divert resources then into rehabilitation efforts more as well then.
Yeah, if needed, I can invest some of my own personal money. I don't know what the
idea is. Your
like.
Investment is already happening. So
okay.
what we're pointing towards now is just determining, like, there's only so much capital you can invest into the system. So what I'm trying to determine is where are your squeezes, where are your larger points, are there any gaps?
And I'm assuming that I'm assuming this is probably all money above my character wealth anyways, so financially like putting money into it's probably
because they've gone out with the information and the name that you've created, found investors, found other sources of revenue streams to ensure that this is going to be as big a thing as you want it to be, instead of just having it be privately sourced. In addition to that, they've made sure that all of the negotiations that involve additional like people do not place you in a situation where you're
liable.
No, where they have any sort of authority to make significant changes to the operations. So
Gotcha.
you guys will make changes, but they will not be significant sweeping changes. They will be like, well, we tweaked this thing over here, but we have to make changes slowly because we have to be able to monitor results.
Okay. I don't know if there was any headway on the potential about getting people to do research in Lviv, or if that was something
There
that
is
was...
nothing done there. They are currently still trying to get the... there's like a lot of non-disclosure agreements. There are a large number of things that are the equivalent of patented over there.
A lot of red tape stuff.
Yes, and that is
Okay.
a lot of what they're trying to broker. They've got people over there now, finally, but they are currently working to try to create some sort of arrangement.
If there, I don't know if the viewing globe stuff is something we have to like invest in later because we're doing so much with this stuff right now. But go ahead. I was gonna say if it isn't, then I would probably try to I don't know if I guess that was more of like a money making thing and an entertainment thing, but they kind of go one and the same. But...
Right, but they also have they found clinical uses for the situation as well. So, but they can divert money, and they say like, we think that if you move money into a different direction, you could have better results in other places. But it's about figuring out where you want to take the chance, or if you want to keep the bars all balanced.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think if they're making any changes, make sure. I guess like I'd like to have detailed notes on their ends. I mean, I'm sure that they're already taking them, but like weekly reports sent with all the information so that I can be aware of what's going on as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that would be about it. And I guess if there's well, I don't know. I guess I don't have any like income from my personal stuff coming in. But yeah, I would like to focus on that stuff. Yeah.
So then the next person to go to, sort of trying to get through some of the stuff that's kind of blanket happening in the background first.
Is this stuff that's happening throughout the course of several days?
Yes,
I did have a few things I wanted to do with that.
This is blanket stuff that I'm trying to tie up so I can get to that, and then we can do some more individual stuff.
I just wanted
especially
to
since 3 of the 4 members of the party right now are eating.
That's fair. So yeah, because I just wanted to remind myself mostly so I don't forget about it.
Just some simple things for Ivy in terms of information that you've gained, and you can ask any questions you might have as we go through some of this stuff. So you're freezing up a lot. Are you still able to hear me clearly? That looks like a no.
Yeah, I hear everything fine.
That was super delayed.
Maybe that'll help. Oh god, no. I think I may be caught up.
A little bit, yeah.
No?
Nope, this is a massive delay. Here comes the yep. How many fingers?
1.
Okay, you're caught up.
Okay, I'm like, people are moving, but I can't tell, like, if it's old movement or new movement or current movement. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so over the course of your research, God damn it. Why? I'm afraid to start on this and then have it, like, have frozen up for 20 minutes. Did I just speed talk?
I just flagged really bad again. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to close out anything that might be...
Alright, well, you're doing that. Let's slide over to Gulrun then. So Gulrun, some details about your church that I need as things are being formed. There is there's a bit of a situation where you need certain amounts of staff to cover your building. You are not allowed to be the only person who can sort of be set as the caretaker for your building. You will need at least 3 individuals that are connected to your building in some way. That is required by the city for the purposes of emergencies. Like, for example, if you were to leave town, they can't have no one they can reach out to if something happens to your building. And you need to coordinate with these individuals to make sure that at least one of you is always in town if something should go wrong. These people need to be affiliated with your company, or with not your company, but it is laws for companies, is where this is coming from. These people need to be affiliated with your church and cannot have a significant portion of their time dedicated to another industry. So, like, for example, you could not say Moirin is going to do it because Moirin's time is dedicated to this. You couldn't say, like, Maha or Rian because they're dedicated to their work.
I think it's interview time. I think Guluran posts up wherever the public could see it and starts trying to recruit some, like, priests of Kraskron, or caretakers of the building kind of thing.
So,
kind of positions. What
are some characteristics of caretakers that you would be looking for?
I mean, obviously I want them to have qualities of, like, similar to my own, so I don't want to, like, directly say you must be honorable and have resolve. Like, I would, in the questions that I pose, I would suss out what they would do. So I'd say, like, I would give them, like, examples in the interview. I'd say, like, well, you see this poor man drop a gold coin, and you've been down on your luck. Do you keep it for yourself, or do you give it back to him? That kind of thing, to, like, show if they're, like, honorable. And then for, like, resolve, I would say, like, well, obviously, I think I have good sense motive, so obviously I'd be looking if they're lying. Mm-hmm. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure I spec'd into that. Yeah, I have a plus 15 base. And then the other kind of example scenario I'd pose for, this is just examples, for the resolve, I would specifically say, like, oh, like, are you okay working here for, I guess it would be minimum pay, or how do I pay these people, or what is it, volunteer?
So these cannot be volunteer positions, so you need to come up with some compensation that is fair. There is no minimum wage system. However, if you obviously don't compensate them fairly, there can be consequences for not doing that. These people do have to have some measure of access and control over the business while you're gone. So you need to be offering them some sort of, like, fair stipend to compensate them for their time.
Would I have a reasonable way to attain what that wage is?
Do you have any ranks in either knowledge local or knowledge law or knowledge business development?
No. So I guess I would ask Antaeus for assistance in finding that out.
Yeah.
But just to get the other example, if that comes into play when you're selecting NPCs that come up, resolve would be, if I'm paying you X, I'll take the reasonable wage that I can afford after talking to Antaeus. And the other church offers you, like, double, or would you take it? And then I'm going to assess, obviously, in an interview, you'd be like, no, I would stay with you. But obviously I'm going to assess their reaction with my sense motive to see if they're lying about that, to see if their resolve is true to...
Does Goron have Zone of Truth?
I do, but I don't know if that's, like, etiquette to, like, Zone of Truth your interview process. I don't know.
It's sort of up to the church and up to the people. And I mean, in theory, you should be disclosing ahead of time what you're using on them. But it's not, there's also not really a law that's required in that particular case, as long as you're not trying to suss out anything that has anything to do with legality. So, like, if you were trying to find out if they murdered someone, you have to make sure they're aware that they're in a zone of truth prior to saying that, because you can ask, like, leading questions that will cause the zone to require them to answer honestly, but those questions might not actually be like the answer or the explanation of what happens. So, like, you can ask in a way if somebody had killed somebody, but that doesn't necessarily imply guilt, but because they've answered honestly, they might feel like they've killed somebody and end up answering that yes, they did it, when in reality, like, they think that their actions resulted in the passive effect of someone dying. But
Yeah, I
now
don't
you
think
have a convictable
Goran.
thing.
Yeah, if that's like normal practice, I don't think Goran's gonna zone of truth his applicants. Just like it starts off in the wrong foot, where like you're presuming they're gonna lie.
Okay.
I think he'll rely on his own like sense motive to see if they're trying to lie to him. And these are just like caretakers of the establishment. I'm still like my person I'm entrusting my.
You could also see if Moira would be able to be there at least for the interview processes. I don't know if
Yeah.
like that's taking too much time
If that's
away
possible,
from him.
Moirin
yeah,
will
that's
not
possible.
be able to be a part of your interview
Okay.
process, unfortunately. He can offer you some advice that might help.
Sure. I would take his advice and incorporate it into my questions, whatever that would be. In terms of the wages, does that come out of my personal funds?
No, the church will eventually have its own money. So for as far as like all of this background development stuff you guys are doing, a lot of the costs are going to be subsumed by either like the regular revenue you're getting from the ministry for being prolific heroes, in addition to like money that your things will start developing on their own. As long as you don't give me fucked up answers. Like if you were to say like, in my church, I'm only going to hire like nefarious people that have bad intentions and you know, but that's not an answer that I would figure. Or like in Antaeus's case, if Antaeus was like, no, I want to churn through people like they were like nothing but cheap swine, and I need to get out that port quickly, Antaeus's company would make a fuck ton of money, but Antaeus's research wouldn't be good. Or on the opposite end, like if he was like, no, I don't want to like negatively impact these people whatsoever, his research is going to become either very expensive and the business is going to fall apart because it doesn't have a way to sustain itself, or the research is going to like grind to a near halt and nothing is actually going to happen. So like for you in this case, you're trying to make a decision between like, do you want just simply caretakers, or do you want people who will learn to be devoted to Krazkron? And the difference will be like how you evaluate them, what you want to teach them, how much money you plan to compensate them. In these kinds of things matter, and are why I'm kind of asking these questions, because these are the long-term plans that will affect the future, not only of this game, but also potentially games to come.
Yeah, I think at this specific moment, I'm looking for more caretakers than priests. Okay. Just because, well, I don't know where the timeline on this, but I plan on doing like we spoke about last week, communing with Krazkron about this Ivy situation. Mm-hmm. So depending on what Krazkron tells me and what my plans are, I don't know if I need like to find people immediately or if I have time to find the right full like long-term people that I want.
Okay.
So.
Well, this is all happening then. Antaeus, are you willing to offer some of that information to Gul'ran?
Yeah. Any like specific information or just like
like adequate pay for caretakers of an establishment?
Of a church? Yeah, absolutely.
All right, give me
I'm
Go ahead.
Well, I'm assuming that there's also other like living quarters there, right? So you could compensate them with a place to stay as well if you were looking to save some money. I'm assuming. I don't know how the building
that is up to Gul'ran
exactly.
I would
offer that as.
I think I'd leave the living quarters for like clerics and priests. So like just purely caretakers, I don't think they would stay in the church.
Gotcha.
I mean, like if they were like homeless or something, like there would be space for like a shelter for like 4 or 5 beds or something, but like that would be like a temporary thing, not like they just live there. I would leave the specific living quarters for clerics and priests.
So Antaeus, go ahead and give me a knowledge local or a knowledge business development or a knowledge law. There you go. Yeah, so you can work with Gul'ran to make sure like you're paying them caretaker wages. Do you want to pay them slightly better than caretaker wages, or just the average for caretaker wages, or less than the average?
If I know the funds that I'm receiving can afford it, I would try to give them a little bit more, just because they're taking a little bit of a risk. This is an unknown god. We're just starting out, so I'd kind of give a little bit of incentive, saying like. But I wouldn't want that to be like permanent. I would be like the first like few good people I hire, I attract with a little bit higher wage, and then once I have like a good crew of people, then it would go down to like the average or whatever.
Okay. All right. And you're using no magic to enhance this search.
In terms of like zone of truthing, no.
Just any magic in general that you might be applying to the search for people.
Like actually find people?
Yeah, to either find people or to like try to, I don't know, convince people or get people to understand.
No, I don't think I want to use any magic to
Okay.
sway people without their like. Yeah, no, I don't want to change anyone's minds with magic, but I might be doing like I might display my magic to show like what Krauskron's all about.
Right.
Like I might be like, if I can like do like the half baked stone skin to show my stone turn to skin, to my skin turn to stone. I might do like just like random remove diseases on like the sick people. Like I might be doing acts of like kindness to like showcase that like Krauskron can give power to people and stuff.
Okay. And then Niev, what is your sort of intended working arrangement with the Fean Empire? Like, where do you feel like you kind of want this relationship to go with them?
Well, honestly, I don't want to quit the ministry, especially because, you know, there's a lot going on with the ministry right now where we're possibly finding ways for Niev to get home.
Mm-hmm.
And so she doesn't necessarily want to quit the ministry, but I think that in terms of the Fean Empire, she doesn't really feel like she chose that it kind of chose her. And I think she's still curious enough that she would maybe like at some point try the shifting into the stabby one for more information.
Okay.
But I don't know that she's necessarily going to seek out like, you know, ask them, what do you want me to say, kind of thing.
Gotcha. And then Ivy, I think you're well enough back that I can go over some of this.
Yeah, it hasn't messed up in a while, so I think I'm okay.
So, with some information that you'll gain from your research, you'll know that within the Twisting Sands, that there is definitely this thing that is there. There are enough details that are sort of unexpectedly provided to you. Like you're doing research and you hit like a slump for a little while, and this is part of where we left off with the ghoul round thing. You got information, but it didn't feel like a lot. And then sort of after the ghoul round thing, you just keep lucking into information about this. Finding like really old, obscure documents. Having like Zigmar say that somebody dropped something off with him, and it happens to be like this old manuscript that somebody had written out from a long time ago, and basically all these details that talk about the dangers of the area, but also like what causes the dangers and how to potentially overcome them. It goes into a lot of detail about your sort of condition. Talking about the idea of keeping, like, being in a body that is out of balance. It is in, like, a discordant harmony. Where you have, like, your magic side and your physical side that are kind of almost vying for control of yourself, but the human stubbornness tends to overtake the magical side. Magic is very whimsical, very disorganized. It doesn't always hold together well without control, and so the human side is kind of keeping your magical side in control, and you can do that and you can get very strong direct power. But it also talks about the indirect power that can come from, like, letting your magical side take more control. Because you have this sort of balance and this sort of ebb and flow, you have a unique ability against certain things to be able to interact with them in a layer that regular creatures cannot interact with them. When they talk about these shades, these creatures, and they have like a drawing in one of them that looks exactly like the one that you fought before, they talk about how, from a physical person's perspective, they can interact with them and they can look as though they've cut them away, but they haven't really destroyed them. They've kind of scattered them into the world and disbanded them across the ethereal plane. But eventually, all the pieces will find their way back together in another place. Because your body implicitly controls displaced and organized arcane energy, when you cut them to pieces, you can kind of force the control over them to become similar to your body's composition and even be potentially absorbed into your form. Your blade sort of serves as a conduit for this, and you learn that it's essential to actually have two separate individuals contained within the blade for the purpose of creating this balance. Specifically, traditionally, the soul of one humanoid and the soul of one of its subordinates, known as an eidolon. These things allow for you to transform them into like a substance that is useful to your form. But as you're doing this, leaving them, you are sort of acquiring more arcane energy for yourself and diminishing a bit of your humanity in the process, and creating a much more difficult balance between the two. One where your humanity may start to struggle for control. Knowing this and having the help of Zigmars, who's willing to help you sort of interpret some of this stuff, knowing that like you're not always the brightest of people, he's willing to explain to you that if you go and fight the thing in the Twisting Sands, there is a significant chance that you will be dramatically changed as a person. You will be much stronger. However, you may lose some of your stability of self. You may become more intertwined with what they are. That sort of raw, flowing magic and energy that is somewhat unstable, or potentially very unstable, because these are very powerful creatures. He'll explain, like, it doesn't seem like this is something that you have to do to sort of end your family thing. It doesn't seem related according to the notes that he has about these things. But it does seem like it could give you an advantage. But he does worry at what cost, because he does like you and he'd rather not see you just kind of end up not you. So what are Ivy's thoughts from that information?
Yeah, I guess I'm a little unsure at the moment, and I would at least wait for a point where like Antaeus and Niev, at the very least, since they seemed interested in helping accomplish this, I'd want like their thoughts and opinions.
Okay. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to know if there's anything that before the next time you guys would meet up a few days later that you very specifically would need to get done.
Well, I mean, depending on how the commune with Grassground and stuff goes, like out of character, I'm assuming he's going to tell me to go adventuring with everyone. So I would, once that's done, I would hope to, if possible, get full plate for myself. I don't know if that's reasonable to get done in a certain amount of time or whatever.
1 second, let me look at something here. And you're going to use the actual commune spell, right?
Let me check. I think I have the required component. Or I think it's divination.
That might be the one I was thinking of.
Well, commune is higher level. What's the difference, actually?
So divination is just more powerful augury. Commune is actually being able to have a sort of conversation with your deity.
Okay. Ooh, it costs 500 GP, Jesus.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess I would do the commune thing. It
Okay.
seems more important.
All right, so, and then who else has stuff in between?
I know I have
That
a
needs
few
to be done.
things. I don't know if either of you two have stuff you want to.
Well, what do you
Do
have first?
first.
What I want to do is list these off. So,
I don't think I
there's the
have
commune.
anything, so
Okay.
I don't think there's anything specifically I have to do.
I wanted to speak to Maha still, about
Elizabeth?
yes, thank you. When it's not on company time, because it seems like that's not the opportunity.
Okay.
Time to do.
That probably won't happen before the next time you guys meet.
Okay.
Maha's personal time has been basically eaten a lot by work. She has not been able to take a proper break, and when she does, she has no room to talk about like anything work adjacent even. So she'll like make plans to see you, but it's gonna be like a week out before she's available, and she obviously doesn't want to talk to you during work time about it because it's supposed to be not work related.
Yeah, because conversations like that have to be like not recorded per se, like, but like it would be known.
She has to
by
account
more
for the
than just
time she
us.
spent with you if she's on hours.
Exactly. I also did want to try to use, was it sending?
Okay.
I was going to try to. I do have that right. Yes, I do have sending. Okay. I was going to use sending that night to see if I could speak to the tree actually that Niev gave me the name of. I don't know if it would work or not, but to see if there's any response, if it's still alive.
You will
anything
find
like
out the
that.
tree is dead.
Okay.
The tree
That's
does
unfortunate.
not respond, I guess is the way to put it, right? Let me double check sending. Hold on.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I don't know if I would be able to surmise definitively one way or another.
Subject recognize you if it knows you, can answer immediately. Blah. Yeah, you will get no reply. You'll get dead air.
Okay.
Whether it is that it is out of range on another plane, doesn't exist, you are not sure.
I suppose I would also try to one of the nights try to speak to it through dream. I don't expect much out of that, but just as a backup option to kind of test that.
Yeah, you'll find out that doesn't work at all. You
Okay.
assume though that may be because they don't sleep.
Yeah, I was kind of figuring as much, but I wasn't sure if they had some equivalent of sleep where it worked with that.
No.
But that's fine. Also,
You get that feeling you get when you're like waiting around for forever to like for the person to finally get off the phone.
Yeah. I guess I would also try to contact Candor as well, because it's been a while since I've spoken to him and kind of update him on what's been going on.
Yeah, you will
Via dream, specifically.
You will not be able to reach him again for the same reason.
Okay.
You get that like, does this dude ever sleep anymore? Like, you can try this multiple days in a row and at multiple different times and keep finding like that you're not able to reach him.
That makes sense. I suppose the day after I find out that it doesn't reach him, I would try to use a sending just to check if that works.
The sending does not work.
My guess is it's probably because of the way the magic works.
Yes,
and...
that you kind of get the carrier blocked feeling. Like, you feel the message not able to go out. Like, there's no one it can go to.
I have to look at something real quick. Because Alright, I do... Okay, this might be... Let me know if this is too much or if I'm being too extra right now. So, lesser projection. Lesser astral projection. Oh, I don't... Do I need the stuff for that? I think I would still need the stuff for that because I got it from my ability from that. I guess I would try to.
No, you can attempt to do it. It's a spell-like ability, right?
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was.
Yeah,
I
you
think
can
it's
attempt to do it.
Psychonaut, but because I don't need a gem. Well, I guess plane shifts. I wouldn't need the thing from. But I don't know how safe that would be. And I would have to have a way to travel back, so probably not a good idea. I'm not that concerned about that.
Okay.
But also in the meantime, I would do the studying for the stuff on the old one or ones.
But you have an intent to attempt to use the lesser astral projection.
I did try that before, didn't I? And I was told not to do that then.
I don't remember.
I guess it was still an issue.
I don't remember anybody mentioning anything about lesser astral projection.
I think I tried to do either that or one of my other Psychonaut abilities, and then somebody was like, it might have been when I tried to use the drug then the first time or something to that effect, where I kind of got a message from something being like, yeah, this is not the time to do that.
It was from like a god was telling you not to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess if I get anything like that from anything, I would go back as well, but
no, you will not get anything like that. So then the next person I need to know about, I need to throw this in my thing real quick.
Well, because I also am not aware if since I haven't really messed around with it too much, am I able to actually cast things in there?
Give me a spellcraft or a knowledge arcana rather. Sorry.
Because if I'm not, then...
Ooh, this is actually very good. You will know that you are able to cast things while you're on the astral plane.
Okay, interesting. As far as I know, there's no specific restrictions or anything on things that I'm not able to.
No.
Okay, I suppose I would try it then. Try to do sending then when I go through into the astral plane.
Okay.
I'd make sure to let people know the night before, in case I cease to exist.
All right, and Niev, how about you?
So Niev mostly is just spending time with Hunter, gardening, waiting for them to call her in about the whole dead body thing.
Yep.
The only other thing that she's really kind of considering is trying to figure out if she can find a cage made out of cold iron. Because she wants to try shifting into the stabby one, but she doesn't want to potentially lose control. And
you can commission the ministry to build you a cold iron cage if you want.
Okay, that she probably would set those wheels in motion.
Okay.
Then.
I think you have the level of diplomacy and social interaction to be able to convince them you have good reason for this, and they're already afraid of a fan thing, and so you bringing up the idea of a cold iron cage, they're kind of oh, we see where you might be going with this, and so they're kind of on board, especially if you're going to let them kind of test how it would work in advance.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
All right. Cool. I think for right now we're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, we're gonna see what happens with Antaeus' jaunt to the astral plane and Gulran's communication with Krazkaran. And then the party will get together to discuss some more things. We'll see you guys shortly.
to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a a champion. I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance.
Otters are real culture. They have pockets that they can keep their food in.
And they're not scary like kangaroos.
I mean, they actually are scary. You do not want to put your appendages anywhere near an otter.
Yeah, but they're not like as physically intimidating as those buff, scary kangaroos.
I mean, a kangaroo, though, is easy to shoot. Doesn't go down in the water. Oh,
Yes,
is that not okay, me
yes.
talking about killing kangaroos?
I mean,
Maybe.
they will straight up kill you if you encounter one.
Yeah.
So,
It's like dingoes. Get them before they get you.
or your baby.
Thank you. I was hoping for that one. All right, well, let's move into the campaign.
Fucking Pavlov.
Damn his dog. So I think we're gonna do Ghoulron's communion first. Let me bring up some of El Musico.
Is there food involved in Goron's communion?
There is
No.
not.
There is incense worth 500 GP though, and some holy water.
I think you need to offer communion with Kraskaron and snack.
All right, let's look at how communion works. Probably gonna play this a little bit differently than how it is intended. Yeah, so it gives you by raw one question per level.
Yes.
However, you have known Kraskaron to be somewhat more engaging a god. So there may be more that you get. So if we go a little bit more than what the raw definition is, that is sort of by design here.
Yeah, I mean, Gulron only has one question, so maybe he uses
you
the
may
full
have more
strength
as
of
it
the
goes.
spell. Well, sure. But yeah, the 10 minutes casting time. Gulron sets out the essence, or incense, sorry, around, I guess he does this in his house, maybe one evening after dinner, and thinking on the stuff that Ivy and the rest of the party said, trying to get him to come back out for one last thing, and the argument he had with Rion about how he would protect his friends no matter what, and then you kind of felt like that was contradicting him wanting to stay back and do his temple now. Kind of thinking about all this and cast commune with Kraskaron.
You cast the commune, and you find yourself in what feels like a familiar void, a wide, dark area, where you feel like you can see as far as the eye can see in every direction, but it still results in a sort of infinite, empty blackness. As if your eyes were closed, or as if you were in a dark room, but there is most certainly not darkness here. You almost feel like it's like an absence of darkness. And you can feel in that familiar way that Krazkaran does not stand before you, but instead stands beside you with hand on shoulder, ready for you to ask the question directly.
Almighty Krazkaran, I am conflicted. I wanted to keep my promise to finish the construction of my church to you, but my friends come asking me once again to risk life and limb to protect them. I don't want to deny their request, but I also don't want to fail you. You brought me back, and I promised you what I'd do. I don't want to break that promise if I am to fall in combat to protect my friends, because I know this is dangerous, what my friends need my help with, and I know I wouldn't second guess sacrificing myself again for them if it happened to be that way. So I don't know what to do.
What do you truly fear, Goron?
I fear dying before I'm able to see my church complete. I fear my friends falling because I cannot go to help them. Those are my biggest fears.
Goron, you remain so stubborn that even the world agreed you weren't allowed to die. It is not my blessing that brought you back. It is your resolve, your desire to not have your life, your goals end that brings you back. The gems are not the most difficult thing, Goron. You are the most difficult thing. You're not an accident to follow in the plans I have. You are like me. You are built on resolve, honor, and duty. Your fears are less important than your ultimate desires. Would you agree?
Well, my fears contradict my ultimate desires. I want my church built, and I want my friends to live long and happy lives.
So then, resolve it to be so.
But I fear if I are to fall in this last adventure, I don't think anyone could build the church in my stead.
So don't stay dead. If you do have to die.
I think Gul'ran wants to argue a bit about that, but he holds his tongue and just kind of contemplates the words of his god.
You can feel Krazkaran's grip on your shoulder tighten a little bit, and he's like, do not resist your Instinct, state your objection.
The magic that Niev has, I just don't know if it guarantees I'll be exactly who I was before. There's a chance I might be some ancestor of myself or something. Or just another dwarf. I just don't know what that would be like. I don't know if I'll feel the same.
Gulran, do you really think being in another body could change you? Being eaten couldn't change you. Here you are, asking a question about whether you should do something that you clearly desire to do. You did not come here for my blessing. You came here for yourself. You are your greatest objective, or your greatest opponent. You are your greatest ally.
You're as wise as ever, hey? I guess there really was no choice. If my friends are being in danger, I can't sit by.
There is choice. The actions of your team are not actions which you must protect them for. If you feel that what they are doing is wrong or will greatly upset the balance, you should speak your opposition. Do not be silent when you do not have to. Remember, the greatest honor you can give to your friends is to be clear, honest, careful, and caring.
I am sure their intentions are noble. This task has undergone to free Ivy of impending madness. But I will ensure their goals are as they say they are before I give myself to this task.
I trust you, Gulran. You will do right. And the emptiness will sort of fade back into the room in which you were standing. Or I guess kneeling. Antaeus, you wish to go the astral plane.
Yes.
I think I want one right. Actually, it's not this one. No, that is not the one. Let me grab the one I need because it's not in here. I thought I had it in here, but it is not. I am a bad GM when it comes to music.
Oh, you didn't have the astral plane track loaded up?
I do a really bad job at naming them, is the biggest part of the problem. This is the one, right? That is...
Yeah, I remember last time you said that you need to start naming them when you put them in there.
Yes. I have a really bad habit of it, thinking like, no, I'm going to remember the name of the track. And like, some of these tracks are named things like Jelly Jingles of the Wood, and Cortical Plot, and the Cortical Marshalling Yard. So
that one I get.
Not sure why I think I'm going to remember what these tracks all are. I think it has to do with like a weird pride thing I have about like my family telling me I only remember the things that I want to remember. And so it's like, oh, then I should be able to remember these things. No. That's not how my memory works. It's not how anyone's memory works.
that's just using up space that you could be using for other things that you don't need to remember,
Yep.
but still do.
Should be the right track. You cast an alternative version of yourself to the great beyond. A plane you have read about, a plane you have heard about, a plane you've probably even at points before talked about. Is a cold isn't quite the right word place, but it gives your skin, maybe? It's not really your body, it's not really a body, but it is a body. And it feels like chilliness as you stand in this sort of empty space that kind of exists around you. The astral plane sort of slowly twists and shapes itself into view as your body becomes more and more materialized. A lot of the sort of process of casting this is the initial kind of casting of the spell is almost very quick. It's the transference of your body into a totally different place that takes the largest extent of the time, your body sort of being photocopied into another world. But eventually you arrive and you stand in a place that is seemingly more populated than you would expect. There are not really roads, but these sort of columns that stretch out in sort of these kind of twisting three-dimensional labyrinthian styles with what look like building-like structures that have a sort of passageway on them that connect into these like sort of tunnels or streets or whatever these are that you maneuver through. This sort of filmy kind of like nothing here everything has a shape but also is formless. Like there are squares but they're not like perfect squares. They kind of ebb a little bit as if things here are not manufactured from things that would be material. They are manufactured of things that are astral in their nature.
Gotcha. But it still gives my brain like the idea of what it would be like to feel something like that, or
yes, your eyes and your mind are trying to produce the best representation of what they're seeing as possible. But you exist kind of floating there. Occasionally in distances around you, you can see what look like faint bits of movement along the plane. But you can choose whether or not you wish to engage with those. Tell me what you wish to do here.
Those faint bits of movement don't look like anything that I saw before when we were in the dream place, do they?
They do not look like that, no.
Okay. Well, in that case, I feel a little bit better about that. And you said there was two different like paths?
There are multiple different paths. Like when you kind of look about, there's like a path above you, there's like a path to your right, a path to your left, a path behind you, a path before you. Like there are lots of directions you can go. But there is kind of like a wall-ish appearing thing that exists beneath, or maybe a floor, however you want to perceive it, that is beneath you. But right now your body is kind of standing on the ground beneath you. So the path above you seems Maybe a bit strange, maybe not. Give me a knowledge arcana. Yeah, that's enough to know that here gravity is a non-thing. Gravity is a material concept. On the astral plane, gravity is not. It is a idea. You can assign gravity to many things. You still need to move, like, because your brain is fabricating this world to be the vision of what the world is, but also the vision that's given to you by the astral plane. You still have to conform to the limits of your mind on the plane. So, like, if you want to move around and you want to move on a different plane, like not a
like a different level,
like a different dimension. So, like, top to, like, going from left right to, you know, going from XY axis to maybe YZ axis or XZ axis. You have to kind of walk along those and sort of transform which axis you're moving upon through the way that you step. But you can change the plane that you are walking on, which is why you can see pathways that extend above you. But it is possible, if you're not careful, to take a wrong step and still be affected by your brain's version of that dimension's gravity.
I guess I while I'm standing here, I'm going to kind of like look a little bit more over the thing that I'm standing on and see if it's not concealing anything, I guess, or like.
It doesn't appear to be. No.
Okay, so it's not like there might be something else underneath there, and it just feels like it's here to give my brain some kind of like way to.
This must be part of whatever path or whatever you're on.
Okay, and none of the paths like really have any way to differentiate what they are.
No.
Actually, let me. I don't know if this is how this works, but. Damn, this isn't, okay, these aren't creatures or anything like that.
As you stand there for a bit, a figure will sort of float over to you. The figure is kind of hovering in air and looks vaguely humanish, but rather sort of, it has that kind of astral ebb to it and this kind of like shapelessness about it. So like it's humanoid, but it's very plain in features, so there's not like detail, but you can tell that it is humanoid. And as the figure floats up to you, it will ask, "Whom?"
Oh, me. My name is Antea Saman.
Welcome, first-time traveler.
Thank you.
I am a steward of this plane.
Excellent.
Where can I guide you?
That's a very good question. Is there anything about these paths that I would be able to tell where they're going that I'm missing, perhaps, or are they just...
You could get a map, and he pulls a cube out of his pocket. Like, well, what you assume must be his pocket. But he's like holding a cube in his hand when he says map.
That kind of makes sense, given the nature of the area. I left my money in my physical body.
Money is not a currency we use here. Your money is duplicated upon your arrival and is therefore worthless in our systems. What is valuable are little pieces. A few hairs, and the map is yours.
Excuse me, hairs?
Yes, hairs. Nothing is more valuable than pieces of a person.
Do you mind if I ask why?
Because people are valuable. Their pieces connect to them.
What can somebody do with somebody's hair in this place?
It is not necessarily about in this place, but a means of exchange must exist. This is our means of exchange. A social currency of sorts. The more value you put in, the more your currency is worth.
How did hair work? Are you stuck here? Do you travel between?
I am an
Probably
astral
asking too much.
steward. I was planned to be here.
Does this hair go to somebody else? Or is this like a just for you kind of thing?
The hair will be used as part of the exchange.
There's nothing else?
Other people may hunt for hair.
That's what I was afraid of.
But that is what gives us value. That is what keeps the trade going. The need to find someone when they pass through.
So if someone decides if someone comes here and tampers too much or has too much of an effect, then it's easy to find them, I suppose.
You understand. The more you want
Yes.
from here, the more you must pay. We are an economy of share.
Oh, right. It has to be my hair, I'm assuming.
Yes. 3 hairs for a map.
I'll kind of like count out 3 hairs in between my
Yep.
fingers and go.
You can pluck them out, and he will, as you pluck them out, they will disappear from your hand and become a map. Like, you feel it kind of grow as you, like, go to extend it out. You're like, oh, the map.
Interesting.
This will take you where you want to go, guide you where you want to go, I guess, in your current form. Just follow where it takes you.
Any advice before I set off, I suppose?
Remember to be respectful to all others. 'Tis an economy of share.
So I suppose this isn't my home, so it'd probably be a good idea to respect those that live here.
It is no one's home. Living here for too long can cause complications. Remember, this is a lot of not you.
Thank you. Do I have to do anything special with this map, or do I just kind of fiddle about with it?
If you have a place you want to go, you think it to the map, and it will guide you.
Interesting. Thank you.
Thanks is necessary. We are here to serve.
I'll kind of like look at the map and start. I guess I would start thinking about Candor first because I wouldn't really know like like a physical place.
Yeah,
to go
you'll
here.
find it doesn't take you to people.
Okay. I guess I'll think about what was that place that she said? Mirashad?
Okay. It will. So the map will sort of twist, sort of like in bits, like a Rubik's cube, kind of spiraling in your hand. And there's like a dot for you, and then you start shrinking, in like comparison to the whole rest of the cube. And your dot is microfine in comparison to the size of the cube, and another just as tiny or sort of larger dot will appear. But it is in terms of the cube size, it is like as far from one end to the other as the cube is.
That's concerning. I suppose I'll look for a brief moment to see if it's moving. I don't know if I'd be able to tell or not, but if I'm not able to tell, I'll just kind of keep an eye on it periodically to see if it looks like it's coming closer to what I perceive to be my dot.
No, it is not moving any closer. You need to walk if you want to get there. You are bound by the laws of your material understanding here.
Oh. This doesn't seem like a walk that I mean, I'll start walking, but I don't think this is a walk that I'd be able to make in one journey.
Yeah, as you walk, there is no change in the distance that you've traveled. Hang on one sec.
Sure.
Hello? Hello? I'm sorry, I do not have enough time right now. I hate numbers that look like work numbers. Yeah, your dot is getting no closer to this dot as you travel.
I suppose I'll change my focus to Sir. See if that changes the distance a bit.
It does change the distance. Your dot gets a little bigger, and the new dot gets kind of smaller.
I'll walk a little closer. I'll walk a little bit and see if it feels like walking in.
Barely notice the distance change.
Okay, so it feels like it's maybe not exactly 1-to-1 to the real world, but it's not like I'm jumping between different places. Correct. Or anything. How about what the fuck? I don't know if I remember the exact place. Actually, I don't know. I was gonna say that area that I was reading about, but I don't know if I would know where the area was. Where, what was it? Never mind. That's too obscure. I'll think about the Fan Empire, I guess.
You've never been to the Fan Empire, so it cannot take you there. There needs to be at least some understanding of where something is, because again, it is bound by your material understanding. So you're looking on imagine like this is still a map that you have to look through. So if you don't know where something is, you can't go to where that place is. But you know on a giant map where Mirashad is. You know on a giant map where Wusser is. So you can see it will create a map with a guide to take you to a place. It's not quite GPS, but it's not quite an old-fashioned map either. It's somewhere in between.
MapQuest?
No.
I suppose I'll think about the tunnel, the entrance specifically from Sierra's haunt.
Wait, which tunnel? Oh, the one to get to Borgholm? Yeah.
I suppose it's Borgholm?
Borgholm is where the Dwarven City is.
Oh no, the underground tunnel. To the other one that they found the body by.
You do not know where that tunnel is.
Okay.
You were not given the coordinates of that tunnel.
Okay, so I know what it looks like, but I haven't been there, so I don't know. Okay, gotcha.
Essentially, if you can't pick it out on a map, this thing can't tell you how to get there if you're using those kinds of terms.
How about Levi.
Yeah, you can see it form the same way. You're some distance away from it. Similar to Wasser.
Okay, I'll travel towards it and see if there's, for about like, I don't know, 20 minutes, and see if there looks like there's any difference whatsoever.
No.
Okay. Actually, how long does this last? 20 minutes might be way too long.
There isn't particularly
Okay.
duration.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't want to like. Okay. I guess I'll just I guess it'd better to do something close by. I will think about Niev's house, actually.
Okay. You can see Niev's house. It is relatively close.
Does everything look like it does in
No,
the
it looks
material
very
plan?
different. But you can
That's what I was
literally walk
expecting.
over to Niev's house. It's kind of a weird up a little ways, down a little ways, side a little ways, but you can get there.
I suppose I'll kind of like look around the outside of the house to see the
house isn't
garden. Oh, okay.
None of the things that you're used to seeing. Like the astral is not a mirror of the world that you're in. The astral is built in its own way. It is its own shape. So one of the things that I like to remind people here is this world does not use the same like manifestations of the planes as you see in other places. One thing that's very important is there isn't a fire plane, there isn't a water plane, there isn't an earth plane, there isn't a heart plane.
Or salt plane.
No.
Captain Planet plane?
No.
There are rings for that, though.
There are like the astral and the ethereal, which oppose each other to the material plane.
Okay. I guess the reason that I picked her house specifically is because I wasn't sure if it would show me anything different as far as...
Like, as you're going places, there are things that look like entryways into other places. They're like smaller openings in things.
Okay.
But there is no like specific... There's nothing that mirrors what the outer world is.
All right. I guess from here I would probably, because the ministry's a little ways away, but it's not too far, right?
Correct.
Okay. I guess I would think about the ministry next,
Yeah,
and then
and you could travel there. But again, here actually the ministry building looks very similar to its ministry counterpart in the material realm. And in fact, there are a couple of people out there dressed like ministry members, or at least they have like that kind of look, and they have like the badge upon them, the symbol upon them.
this is not coincidence, I'm sure. Along the way, are there any of those like holes or?
Yeah, there's several
doorways?
entrances along the way.
I suppose I'll, I guess, is this dismissible is a real question.
You can return to your body at any time.
Okay. In case I go over there and they decide they want to murder me on sight, I will keep that in my metaphysical back pocket. And I'll kind of make my way towards them, I suppose. They look like just the normal guards that would be at the ministry.
Yeah. They will stop you. You're new here.
Yes, I suppose so.
Gonna need to see some credentials.
I'll pull out my ministry badge.
They will allow you in. Welcome to
since I
the
am new-
Astral Ministry.
Thank you. Since I am new here, is there anything that I should know before I go in there?
That's a hard question. We don't know what you don't know.
Is there anything I should be aware, not afraid of? Is there anything I should be worried about going in there? No? Yes?
You're a member
Is
of
it
the
dangerous?
ministry. You're a member of the Ministry. It is no more dangerous than entering into the Ministry offices on the material plane.
Ah, thank you. So it is dangerous then. No, nothing? Okay, excellent. I'll just make my way in there.
Yeah, you can pass by them, and it's basically laid out identical to the Ministry building on the material plane.
I am going to go visit my buddy.
All right, you can go down there.
If he's, well, actually, I guess I'll wait to see if he's there.
He is there. Oh, you finally figured out how to get here. I didn't think you would.
Yes, I had to exchange some hair for this map. Hopefully that won't come back to bite me. Okay, that's good.
Okay, so here's the thing. From here, very important. I'm here, not here. Remember the copies?
Sort of.
This is not me,
4 different places
but
at
it's a
once.
me. It's Amy. Not Amy. I don't have an Amy me. I'm me.
You do understand how dangerous that is, what you're doing, yes?
It's not about danger, it's about answers.
I would like to be able to disagree with you on that, but I suppose I wouldn't really have much of a leg to stand on.
Wait a moment. Do you have the book?
I was going to ask you if it's safe to bring it out here. I don't know much about this plane. Is the machine still in here?
Of course. I brought it with me.
Excellent. Maybe there's something that we can... I'm assuming he looks exactly the same as he does in the material world.
Yes.
Okay. No, but nobody would choose to try to impersonate him and wait for people to show up, so I think I'm pretty safe here. I'll pull it out. I'll kind of like thumb through it and see if anything stands out to me while I'm doing this.
Something does stand out. Something very brightly colored. Like, you're flipping through some pages and there's just this shining light that comes out that looks like a glowing ball of energy.
Interesting. I'll pull it off the thing.
It will easily peel off the page into your hands. And as it does, you will hear a myriad of voices start to fill your ears. He's found it. He's found it. He's found it. Shadow has found it. And the area around you will stop. All movement, all action will cease. And a silvery figure will slowly coalesce into your presence, wearing long, flowing blue and black robes. He stands before you, intimidating just in his appearance. His face is sort of a blur to you. Like, it looks like a very well chiseled face, but not well put together.
I'm going to commit as much of what he looks like to memory.
And he will lean in towards you. That son of a bitch was right. You really did figure it out.
Who are you? Why are you following me?
I'm not following you. Don't get colors confused, boy. Don't be that stupid.
Well, what race does he look? Oh, well, I guess he wouldn't really look.
Yeah, it's hard to see. Like, his, yeah.
I can't move, can I?
You can. You are not frozen. Everything else is.
I will keep this close to my person.
I'm not here to take that from you. That's what's allowing us to talk. That's what he needs most. But it can only be acquired here, in that book. He's had to hurt himself quite significantly otherwise to get to the summit.
I guess it's probably unnecessary for me to ask, but should I ask who you're referring to?
You know who I'm referring to. Make sure he gets his book. There are things much bigger than the little things you have going on here. Stop fucking this place up.
I thought you were talking about Thoth.
Yes, I'm talking about myself.
I'm sorry, what?
Come now, are you truly that daft? I could have swore, as Kandor puts it, that you had a whole lot of ranks in intelligence.
Sure, whatever that's supposed to mean. Sorry, it's not every day that I'm face to face with a god.
It is as you say.
I've lived, well, a long time, relatively to humans, I suppose, but this is the first time I've done anything like this, or seen anyone like you.
Let's try to make sure we minimize that.
Yes, that makes sense.
It's weird. Your interests often align with my own, and yet you seem so hostile towards my ideas.
Your ideas would have this information up, put it back in the book, or can I put it in the bag, actually?
You're gonna put the
Or
ball of light into the bag?
I'll kind of like hover and wait for him to respond.
You'll end our conversation.
Yes. Good point. When we're done here, should I just put this back in the book then, or put it in the bag?
You can put it back in the book or in the bag. Your choice. In the book,
Okay.
only you can remove it. In your bag, who knows who could remove it.
Fortunately, the bag is protected to some degree, but I'm sure that there are ways around that as well. So I need to make sure that he gets this. How do I make sure that he gets this?
She's there. Make sure she gets it.
Is it safe to assume that she... Just so that we're clear, when you say she...
The one who inadvertently named herself after cheese, as Kandor has made the joke. I don't understand the joke. She didn't name herself. Her parents did. But his sense of humor is odd. And I figured since you're him, the joke wouldn't be lost on you, I guess?
I'm odd, not that level of odd, but he probably knows more than me, and safe to assume that when you know that much, you're odd. No offense.
Make sure she gets the book. Don't play around with that orb too much. You can choose to if you wish. I cannot stop you. I am bound by the terms of the great creation.
Well, that explains why you're here, and I'm still here, I suppose.
Yes. I cannot take the orb from you. I cannot directly intervene, and I must be careful about what I am allowed to say and reveal. Though the orb lets me skirt some of those things. In fact, you know who'd really like to have that orb for just a moment? Friend Gul'ran.
Forgive me if I'm skeptical as to why you would be intentionally giving me information. that would be beneficial to me and my group. Considering from what I know of you, that seems to be very...
Rasavant has his own understanding of what is happening, and one that I actually trust to be true. If these things are to happen, it would ruin everything for everyone. There are those to seek to take away what we have created and what you have created, that wish to make this a place filled with a lack of what makes it special.
Actually, since you're here, this wouldn't have anything to do with the thing I read about briefly, being buried and then having something abyssal, I believe, and then tainting the land around it thousands of years ago.
No.
No.
No. Stay away from that.
Okay.
In fact, keep Ivy away from big problems. If she fucks up, fuck! Right, can't.
We might not agree on a lot of things, but I think we see eye to eye on that. Her... I don't just trust her, but she seems to be looking at things through her scope, and
she is a free spirit. You will not be able to control her.
I'm concerned about letting her near big things, yes.
Good. I need to make sure you understand that book gets to her.
How will I know other than the name is cheese related?
Ugh.
Oh, yes, you can't tell me that kind
tell
of
you.
Yes.
I have already skirted around too much.
Alright.
And you'll see, like, he sort of, like, fades away.
Interesting.
He's such a silly man, isn't he? A figure will kind of slip up behind you and, like, you'll feel like it's trying to touch you on the shoulder, but, like, it can't do so. And then it will sort of move around you slowly, almost like it's slithering. And what feels like a very attractive woman will slink out around you and be very close to you. Make sure she gets it. You can give her whatever else you want. That needs to get into her hands. Can you do that for us? Or are you frozen? Oh, he froze. Damn it. In a
Such
really
good moment.
odd...
Yeah, it's like, thinking.
Alright, well, I suppose this is a good time to take a short
We
break.
dumbfounded him with the mistress.
Hopefully,
the expression.
hopefully he will be back after the break. We'll see you shortly.
Oh.
Do you want to be a champion? mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. Maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance. Do you want to be a champion? I mean that sincerely. Do you actually want to be a champion? I've seen what you can do. You're good. maybe even good enough. But you're lazy. Most of the time you just sit there judging others for their mistakes. When you know you could do better. Well, now's your chance.
It's true.
True.
We're back. So yeah, this feminine figure kind of slips around you.
I'm gonna go through my memories of reading that book on flirting and see if this falls in line with what flirting might look like.
It is flirtatious of sorts.
And I don't know too many female deities, so I'm going to assume that this is the mistress.
Make sure she gets the book. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that it's not just him that's interested in this success.
That's good. I'd be concerned if it was.
I assure you, it's not. It's so funny to see what an elongated version of him would look like. You don't look better, but I'd still give it a try. I wonder if you have all those same issues, though. You're always so focused, and yet, when you weren't, it just wasn't worth the time.
Are you talking about who I think you're talking about? I don't know if these are things you can answer or not. He seemed
I don't know who you're talking about.
Andor? I don't know why I looked around.
That is who you aren't?
Well, it wasn't already obvious, or then from talking to him, this definitely confirms it. Wait a minute. It sounds like you know him on a more personal level. Knew him?
Both. Let's just say our desires couldn't coexist.
But he can be trusted?
I don't know if you can trust him. But there are people that trust him. This is harder than I thought. It's so difficult to pick the right words. I do it wrong. It's rough. Listen, I don't like this woman, but things need to happen the way they're supposed to.
This cheese woman?
Make sure she gets the book. I don't understand that joke.
I don't either. It's like hearing a joke from 4 different people passed down the line that was probably barely funny to begin with. I don't know.
I agree.
I don't understand jokes very well anyways, but...
Yes. Neither did your other self.
There's so many
Do
questions,
you
none of which I'm
love
sure you
birds
answer.
like he did?
Birds? Love is a strong word. Birds, they're okay, I
There were
guess.
many stories he had about this bird person.
A bird person?
He referred to him as Peter Phoenix.
Peter is not a name I would associate with a phoenix.
I think you're the better version of him. Well, time to go.
Thank you.
Make sure she gets the book.
Should I expect a third one?
He probably won't come.
No, I'm even more confused.
Time resumes its normal flow.
I will go ahead and put that into... I guess I'll put it into the bag because I don't know if I can take it out of the book if I'm not in here.
Okay, you can put it into the bag.
But at least that's the impression that I got from it, unless I'm misreading the situation. But
it's kind of a weird thing because you're not sure if the book is bound to the copying of itself in the astral plane, or if it's kind of hard to understand.
Yeah, it sounded like it was something that I would only be able to access in the astral plane, and if I'm only able to access it in the astral plane and I put it back in the book, then it would make sense to me that I wouldn't be able to take it out unless I came back here.
Perhaps.
Worst case scenario, I could just take it back out and then put it into the book later, hopefully, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. This all happened in that room with the...
Yeah, everything is back to normal. Time
okay.
froze around everything. But you came here for an original purpose.
Yes. Suppose, looking through the book?
There's nothing more in the book that kind of calls attention to itself.
Okay. I guess what, like, you mean like when we look through the machine edit, or?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if it would give us any additional information about
No, there's
the book
nothing
from
more
this
to be
perspective.
gathered from here. He was more curious if something would trigger if you opened it up here.
Well,
What did you come here for anyway? Weird that you're here in the first place.
it was something that I picked up, and I figured it was worth testing.
To do what?
There's certain... Well, as you're aware, I'm an alchemist. It's not every day that alchemists tend to gain abilities such as these.
Right.
Scrying, or, things like that, like planar travel, that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, so I figured, this is a safer option than plane shifting, especially since I don't know if I'd be able to make it back.
But why? Why test now? Didn't you have something you were working on?
Yeah, so I was working on a few things, gathering information, partly. Assuming that I wouldn't find anything new in the library here that I wouldn't in the material plane.
You might. But you'd have to spend some time here.
Well, it's good to know then. Does time work the same here as it does in the material plane?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. I suppose I should head over there and do some research now then.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How long are you going to spend researching?
That's a good question, because I feel like the longer that I spend, the more concerned I would be about being here. Given that there weren't a lot of measures in place back in the material plane. I think the main thing I would start looking for is about
I need a question as to how long you're willing to search for things first.
I guess I would kind of go by half-hour increments and
How
see.
do you know what a half hour is?
That's a good point. There aren't clocks here, are there?
There
If there
are
were,
not. There is no way to tell time here.
I would probably start doing research on the Great Old Ones and probably spend more time here than I would like to, because I'd probably be trying to find out information on it.
Okay.
So I'd probably be fixated on that.
Okay.
I don't know exact time I'm out, but I'm assuming longer than I'd like to be.
You do not hunger here. You do not tire here. This form, well, similar to your material body, is not quite the same and is not quite impacted the same way. You can research for a long time. And so, for now, we're going to go back to the rest of the party.
Actually, one thing beforehand. I don't know if it would matter or if I'd be able to do it, but
yeah, you can skim through books. The problem is, this isn't something where skimming is going to help the issue. So this becomes a bit of a...
Well, I don't know if this would help me find things that, like, go through stuff and...
No, I need to make it... So this is where there's some lack of clarity here. There is a lot of information that is stored across the astral plane. This is essentially an entire plane that has been modified, mangled, and managed by the sum composite total of wizards that have existed in my world. Especially those that have been a part of the development of Sierra Savant. Or you are in actually the most complicated part of the astral plane.
Of course I am.
It is also a place that is fabricated by people who were devoted, as you know, to Thoth. That means that if you want information, it's work to get information. You're going to find pieces of something here that will lead you to somewhere else, that you'll find pieces there that will lead you to somewhere else, and you'll find pieces there. You're going to be doing a lot of moving from place to place to find information.
That makes sense.
And you
I'd
can
have to be digging
really
through the information.
Yes, and you can really lose a lot of time if you're not able to tell how long you've been doing this stuff. It is a perfect place for wizards to learn safely for a long period of time, but a very dangerous place because you have no idea how much time it has been.
That makes sense. Actually, damn it. My anhole lasts too long. That's fine. I thought I had another spell also, but I don't think that I do. But that's fine. That makes sense though, because I would have to actually. There wouldn't be anything advertising the Great Old One.
Correct.
So I'd have to put a lot of things together. Okay.
Yep.
And I was trying to find a spell where I could cast it and know how long it would last to kind of keep track of time, but Ant-Hall lasts too long. Well, I guess I'd put Ant-Hall on, and then if Ant-Hall goes off after 20 hours or whatever.
But how are you tracking your Ant-Hall?
That's a good point. My inventory. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah. So I think that you're going to have to sort of accept the consequences. And you'll get information, but it's going to take some time.
Totally fine.
So
totally fine.
Let's jump to the other three of you who will probably at some point arrange plans to discuss things with each other.
I'll invite everyone over for some baked ziti with ricotta cheese. And breadstick.
You feel the universe smack you for a moment for the overused joke and the combination of that joke and meta that that doesn't feel quite good after the commentary about how the joke has been passed down 4 hands, and that is 4 hands too many.
I realized afterwards how mean that sounded, and I did not mean for it to sound like that.
That joke aside, though, you can plan to have everybody come by as there is stuff that you want to try. I'm assuming this is once your cage is produced for you and dropped off for your testing. But you will find that Antaeus doesn't answer when you go by Antaeus's.
How has it been long enough that I might be concerned that he's not answering?
It has been like a day or so.
Okay. I will, since I knocked and I didn't get an answer, I'll just sort of try the handle to see if it's unlocked.
Antaeus keeps his door locked, correct?
Yes.
And yeah, it is locked.
I'm not gonna Tehran his place or anything, but I'll just sort of.
What about Gul'ran's place?
Yeah, I'm gonna go get the person I know is more experienced in B&E, and see if he wants to.
You don't know he's more experienced in B&E directly.
That one time he did it at the beginning of the campaign, he's never lived it down.
No, I'll just leave Antaeus a note on his door, just letting him know that when he gets a chance, I'd like him to stop by.
Yeah. The 3 of you will eventually gather together. Antaeus will not come by when it is time for that.
Well, this is concerning.
What is concerning?
Well, I dropped by Antaeus's just like I did the 2 of you to invite him here, and I didn't get any response, and I've not heard from him in a little while.
Are you sure he's not off doing whatever he does with Sigmars and that stuff?
I'm not sure of anything. I really don't speak with Sigmars that much, but maybe the next time you see Sigmars, you can find out. I'm actually sort of surprised Sigmars isn't here either. Normally when there's food involved, Sigmars turns up.
Well, normally when there are official dinner parties, I invite him. I didn't think this was an official dinner party. Should I have invited him? I can go find him and get him. Maybe he knows where Antaeus is.
Honestly, I think maybe we should ask Sigmars. I mean, I don't really want to break into his place. What kind of person would do something like that?
Well, I can't guarantee how long I'll be, but if I show up at his place, he usually is there shortly afterwards, so...
Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind, Ivy. I just... You know how Antaeus is, and he's had that one guy that used to know Brianna, keeps breaking into his house, and I don't know... He seemed kind of scary the last time that,
He's probably just off doing drug research or something, but yeah, I'll go find Sigmars and see if he knows.
Okay. Thank you.
You can head to Sigmar's place as you do, and as usual, you're allowed in, and a little while later, he will show up. I didn't realize we had any plans. Sorry.
You're so predictable. I love it. Just here. Just dropping by like always. No, actually, twofold here for a couple reasons. 1, get together at Niev's, like now, you in, and 2, do you know where Antaeus is?
No, he checked in recently at the business, but after that, he didn't really say much of what he was doing. I know he's been working on some research for some things and doing other things on the side.
Interesting. Niev left us notes on our doors to, meet up for this food and talk as we do, and I guess Antaeus didn't answer, and he hasn't shown up. Thought maybe he was off doing whatever the two of you do together.
No, he's not been working with me in this while.
Huh. Interesting.
You want me to find out what he's up to?
Can you?
I mean, I can have some guys take a look at it.
What kind of guys? What kind of things?
My guys.
Do I want to know? Okay,
I mean,
sure. I don't want to know. Don't tell me.
Okay. Give me a moment. He'll step away for a little while, walk into one of the other rooms, come back out a few minutes later. We'll have some answers shortly.
Cool.
About half hour passes, maybe a little longer. These two goblins will just kind of stroll into the room. They don't look like they don't look like the type of people who belong in a building like what Zigmar's stays in. They look like they're from the traditional, more lower income area. But they just wander up to him and they say some things to him in Goblin. He says a few things back. Well, this isn't great. He's just standing in the middle of his... Well, I guess sitting... He's in one place in his home with a cord connected to the back of his head. I presume, if I remember right, this is astral projection. But I didn't think you guys were quite that strong yet.
I mean, we're decently strong, I guess you could say. Interesting astral projection. So, can you, I mean, what do I know? Am I smart enough? This would be
Knowledge
spellcraft
Arcana.
or knowledge or... Yeah, I don't fucking know. I can spellcraft what people are doing, but I don't know jack shit about the spells.
Well, you can identify what the result of what they're doing is going to do, but you can't interpret from your memory what these things are.
Yeah.
You know it like instinctively, like these actions result in this outcome.
Gotcha. Well, weird. Do you know, like, is it normal to do that for, like, over a day?
Well, that's not good. No, it's
I mean,
not.
presumably it's been that long because Niev left notes on our door, like, I'm assuming you would have left notes, like, the day before or something.
Yeah.
Let's go break him loose. Hopefully he's okay. Well, you know him. He has this tendency to look into things, and from what I've heard from other previous people I've worked alongside, the astral plane is a place to either get lost or get locked up.
Yeah, I guess we should go try to get him out.
Yeah, you will travel for a little while back to his place, and you can get to Antaeus's front door. And
I'd go grab Goron and Niev and let them know like what we know.
Yeah, is you go get them and come back. Are you guys are you bringing them over or?
I would certainly want to go.
Okay. Antaeus's front door, you must have been wrong. It was unlocked. At least that's what Zigmar's claims.
Maybe it was just stuck. I mean, you know, these houses, sometimes the wood just gets
the wood gets a little expanded and... but yeah, he will head in and start searching for things. He definitely picked the lock. You are 100% sure of it.
I'll just keep it to myself.
I mean,
Yeah.
Ivy was 100% sure about that without a gauge.
Niev, being the person she is just like, I'm not even going to think about what probably happened. I'll just give a plausible deniability answer.
But you can eventually
They're business
find...
partners.
you could eventually find Antaeus, and he is most certainly standing there, hooked to a long silvery strand. Well,
Yeah,
I
just-
happen to carry what I need for this. Oh, Gulran, you look like you're about to do something.
I just check his pulse, make sure he's okay.
He is doing okay. His body is in a state of kind of a suspended animation.
He has a ring of sustenance, so
I'm not very good with the arcane. Do we know what's going on here, or is it dangerous to disrupt him when he's doing this?
If I do this correctly, it shouldn't be. He reaches into his pocket and he pulls out what looks kind of like a belt. Do you know if he currently wears a belt? Like a magical belt?
uh,
I don't know. We
I
can
start
find out.
looking around his waist.
Yeah, you can.
I
you
mean,
can,
I got Arcana eyes. We don't even need to detect magic.
Does Antaeus have a belt?
That's what my belt is. It's just a belt slot.
Okay.
Nope, no belt.
Why do you need to take his pants off?
that's a strange way to wake him up.
Yeah. What are you doing, Zigmars?
No, I am going to, in fact, in some ways, put his pants on better.
Oh. Okay.
He will walk over, and he will wrap the belt around Antaeus's waist. Antaeus, I don't want to give too much away from a session we're going to have to do about this, but when you awaken, you have been imprisoned for at least a few hours. You were looking into information and got to a specific point and found yourself stuck in a position where your astral body could not return to your material body.
Oh, so it was like just like a physical, like I was just stuck.
Yeah, like you were
Or,
suddenly
like-
trapped on the astral plane as you were looking for this information.
Okay, so it wasn't like a real prison.
Correct.
Okay.
But there were people that you were talking to, and you know that right now, if you share the information, it is dangerous to everyone else.
Well, the information that I gathered since talking to them.
Right,
not the
you can
stuff
share
prior,
that
okay.
you were stuck with them. You can share like that you were looking for some things and all the other information that doesn't pertain to what you were researching.
Like the orb, I can share that stuff,
Yes,
right?
that stuff is
Okay.
all fine to share. Just the stuff you were researching is not. But when this belt is wrapped around you, the silver cord will break free, and Antaeus will kind of collapse a bit into his body. And Zigmars will immediately walk over and undo the belt, and reach over and hand you a like a small bag of trail mix. And you'll notice that you are fucking starving. All of your magical gear has reset. That has a permanent after a 24 hours duration. Is now back to being temporary. Make sure you eat. You're going to need to remember that.
Thank you.
I don't know what you were researching, but you clearly pissed off the wrong mage.
Yes, this is true. That's good thing that you knew about that.
People do a lot of arcane drugs. The belt prevents the problems from those as well.
Thank you for your help, Zigmars.
Pissed off the wrong mage. You want to elaborate? What the hell is going on?
Well, I did find out some information that I can talk about at the moment. And it involves you, actually, Gulron.
Oh.
So, well, maybe this isn't the time and place for it, but I have something that I found while I was there, and I need to find somebody with the name of a cheese. I don't know what that means, so if you guys come across somebody with the name of a cheese, let me know. I'm to give them the book.
I look at Zigmar. Is this an effect of whatever he was under? I don't understand.
Zigmar shrugs. I don't know any cheese people.
I'm to give them the book.
What book?
For the book, the one for Kandor.
Isn't that a book you shouldn't be giving around to anybody?
Yes,
How do you
under
know you're
most
supposed to give?
circumstances.
How do you know you're supposed to give this cheese person the book?
If I told you guys how I found out this information, I'm gonna kind of like deliberately pause a little bit to see if I feel any kind of weird feeling when I'm talking about this. Nope. Okay. I don't know if you'd agree with it, but if you'd like, I can tell you.
What are you talking about? I don't understand a word you're saying.
What if not an, maybe enemy is the right term. What if an enemy gave you information, useful information, helpful information?
You mean like the demon that I talk to sometimes? The one that
yes,
ate
exactly.
Goron?
So, well, at least I know where you stand on this. Gulron, how would you feel if somebody of, let's say, an opposing god of yours, like, I don't know, name out of a hat, Thoth, gave you some information? Would you follow up with that information?
You can trust it. You think the god that praises himself on keeping secrets would give you something he didn't want you to know for a bad reason?
What if they...
Probably a trap.
It's very possible. But what if somebody else confirmed it? Well, I guess I could... Well,
I've already pissed Thoth beyond all measures. I don't fear any ill will from him.
Are the upgrades to our houses, are they still being worked on?
Some of you got your houses done. So your house is likely done.
Okay, because it would mostly just be security measures, I'm sure, and laboratory stuff. But, did they close the door when they came in?
No.
I probably wasn't born in the woods.
Sure, you can close the door.
Okay. Well, because I'll check on that, and then...
Yeah, it can be closed in this particular case. Semantically, you're not leaving a portal open to a dangerous dimension, so it's fine.
I don't want anybody to teleport through, you know? No, I just want somebody standing outside listening in. I don't know if it would make much of a difference, but...
To be fair, you don't need the door to be open to teleport through with that spell, so...
That's true. So... I was confused at first as well, because Thoth isn't the type to give out information.
Hold on. This is like the deal with the dragon stuff. I don't want to know if we don't need to know for our current goals or missions. There's no need to put us in unnecessary harm's way if we don't need to know this.
Well, giving the book to this cheese person, person with the name of a cheese, something like that. He told me directly that I needed to do that.
Why?
It looked as if he wasn't able to give me more information, for it could be problematic. It could change the outcomes of things. Like, he was being compelled not to give that information.
Is it possible, though, that, he just doesn't want you to have the book? I mean, his creatures were the ones that had it before, and trying to take it back.
And what are you, some Thoth errand boy now?
Well, it's
we
funny
don't
that
need
you
his
mention
help.
that. because then somebody else spoke to me. I
Somebody
mean, the
else
mistress
who?
isn't typically one for book information. She's more of a street smarts. Let's say that.
You're telling me you spoke to the two gods that I couldn't care much for. Very interesting.
Given the circumstances, it would be difficult for me to believe that they weren't who they said they were. I don't have anything that I could give you as proof of this, but actually thinking upon this, I'm gonna try to reach in my bag and see if I can pull out the map. I'm assuming that it's probably not
You
there.
cannot
but...
pull up the map.
Okay, that's good to know that doesn't come back with
I
me.
believe you. I'm just saying anything these two told you while you were there, I wouldn't trust it as far as you can throw me.
Well, the mistress isn't inherently evil. And what
You don't need to be evil to tell lies and manipulate.
But that's true, but I also don't see what she would have to gain from working with Thoth. This felt like I was told to give this book to her to get it back to.
What do you mean?
Pandora.
Haven't you
Or to
heard
give-
she's the mistress? What do you think she's the
Yes.
mistress for? Huh?
Well, she likes to gain information in the form of experiences.
Yeah, I suspected for some time that Thoth and the mistress had a thing behind her shots back. That's probably why they're separated.
But
That doesn't
here's
feel like the bigger point here.
The bigger point is, don't share the information that Thoth threatened you with if it's not going to help us.
But wouldn't Shashat want him to share the information?
It was weird because it felt like Thoth was wanting me to do this, like to get this information to where it needed to go.
Exactly, and that's why you shouldn't be doing it.
But that's
You wanna-
so against Thoth, though. Thoth would
It
never
just begs
want
the
to give-
question, yeah, what could be so pressing that he would want information out there?
That's a misconception. Thoth isn't about the restriction of knowledge. He just chooses who gets it and who doesn't.
And also, I don't see what the mistress would gain from working with Thoth.
Who the heck knows what that floozy wants? He probably
also-
just is sleeping with her and getting to do what he wants. I don't
While I
know.
was there, also there's a very weird thing. The ministry building. I don't know if you guys know much about the astral plane, but apparently things aren't the way that they appear typically in the material plane. And the ministry building appeared very much like the ministry building. There were guards and things outside of it as well. And most of the amenities within were very similar to what we know them to be, which is very odd, very strange. And I spoke with my friend there, and we looked at the book, and there was an item in there that made it so that they could speak to me. It felt as if things were paused, frozen around me. It's very strange.
Sounds very strange.
The Zigmar's like,
Also, well, I guess I'll. I don't know why I'm looking around again. There's nothing around for me to look at. I'll kind of try to pull out the orb from.
You
the...
pull a lump of clay out of your bag.
I did not do drugs before I went in there or while I was in there. I feel like I need to make that very clear. I'll try to pull out the book and then try to put it into the book.
It will put back into the book, and when you put it into the book, it will appear as like a lit up thing, like what looks like a light but isn't actually lit up.
So it doesn't look like the clay that I.
No, it does not look like the
Okay.
clay that you hold in your hand right now.
That is what this is supposed to be. I was told that I could give it to you, Gul'ran, or at least let you see it, and then.
Who told you to give it to me?
Well, I mean, if I told you either one of those names, you wouldn't appreciate it, but.
Yeah, it's probably gonna try to kill me. You joking, Antaeus?
Well, it actually, when I was
You
there,
know
it felt
Thoth
like-
has sworn me death, and you're gonna hand me
Actually-
something he asked you to give me?
to be fair, when he talked to me, it seemed pretty clear that if he could have killed me, he would have. But he was there's something forcing him not to, given the circumstances. Probably the orb, but that was also the thing that allowed him to talk
Probably
to me. So.
Krasgran. Helping my friends out.
Yes, I'm sure Krasgran was there because he has that much sway in the pantheon at the moment.
Just nod.
I appreciate him and his work, and I would like to keep perpetuating that, but it would be a little difficult to believe that at his current state that he's more powerful than the other gods or in the same level as them, because he doesn't have as many followers yet, of course.
Sure.
So I don't think that he would have that kind of control, but he said something about his summon, I think? I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know how that relates to anything, but...
May I see this lump of clay?
I would
sure.
Get rid of it. What are you doing with something that Thoth gave you?
Yeah, it's not a lump of clay anymore because he's put it in the book. But it looks kind of like an orb that you would expect to light up, but it is not lit.
Okay.
Get rid of that thing, Inteus.
I put it back in the book?
Destroy it. Throw it away.
The book?
The stupid thing you just put in the book. If you said Thoth gave it to you to do something with, it can't be good.
No, it came out of the book.
And then Thoth told you to give it to me?
Well, he didn't say that I had to, but he said that you might appreciate it.
Oh, really?
I mean...
What did this item do?
It seems to grant me the ability to speak to them. They came to me, though. It was very weird. They came to me, but they didn't seem like they were able to... Actually, when the mistress, or who I assumed to be the mistress, came to me, it felt like she tried to touch me on my shoulder as she passed by, but wasn't able to. So I don't know if they can actually interact with me. But I'm not sure how all of this works yet, but it seems to be very important.
Anything Thoth wants you to do is not something you should do, Deus. It's just manipulation, and it probably will work against us in some way. He's mad at us for releasing the knowledge, remember? You can't count on him to be your ally.
Did he seem mad whenever you were talking?
Doesn't matter if he seemed mad. He's a god. You think Antaeus could tell if he was acting or manipulating him?
Honestly, the thing that surprises me the most is from everything I know about Thoth, I'm surprised he didn't try to take memories or something from Antaeus.
I don't think that he could interact with me. I think that it prevented him from doing so.
Whatever his goal is in wanting you to do something, it is not aligned with us.
That's fair.
He has sworn vengeance upon me and all of you. We can't trust him.
Seems as if there was something bigger going on, but I don't know. He felt like I don't want to say a messenger boy, but because that seems demeaning to say about a god, but it felt like as if he was there to tell me something, but it didn't. I don't know. There's more happening here, and I don't understand any of it.
Well, maybe with a good meal you'll understand more. I actually made some food over at my house. Can you walk?
I'll try to walk a little bit.
Yeah, you can walk.
Got my sea legs, or am I good? Or
I mean,
okay.
It'll take a little bit of getting used to, but walking is something that comes back pretty quick with that little bit of time that you've been out.
Yeah, that sounds good. Wait, has it been a whole day?
Yeah.
Since the last time I've seen you, it's been several.
Wait a minute. I'll try to remember roughly when I went in, and then assuming that the date of the party hasn't changed.
It's been almost 2 days.
Oh.
I should say it's been a day since I tried to reach you, and that's why I was concerned, is because you weren't there.
That's fair. I appreciate it. Probably should have set up some more measures ahead of time before doing this. I didn't realize that time would get lost so easily there. But yes, food. That sounds good.
You can all head to Brianna's, or to Niev's, and we'll delve more into that next week. Good night, everyone. Thanks for watching.